Welcome back for another video. What we're going to cover today are some couple of fairly essential tools that you should definitely know about as you work with Photoshop. One of them is the rubber stamp tool, or the clone stamp tool, and the other one is the healing brush tool. And so we're going to walk through both of those. So this is a rendering I did a while back. It's got a foreground layer and a background layer. I'm going to go to the foreground layer and I'll delete these birds that are landing. And so now we've just got a black spot, and if we wanted to patch this and bring in some of this column here, patch in some of the roof, it'll be a bit of a challenge, and it would definitely be a challenge if all you had was maybe like copy and paste or whatever, but you have a few other tools at your disposal that you should know about, and one of them is the healing brush tool. It's in with a group of other tools that are useful, and you can certainly use them and explore them, but we're going to focus on the healing brush tool for now. And so the way that actually works is that if you hold down Alt, and you may not be able to see this because of my video recording software, but my cursor is actually changing to a target. So I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to left click somewhere where I want the target to be. So I'm going to say slightly lower down on the column here. Then I'm going to go up where I want the destination to be, and I click and I drag. And so you see there, I've basically taken stuff from here and I've pasted it up here. And everything starts from this sort of origin point that I start down here by saying Alt, click. Then I go up here to a destination, and I work that way. So that works pretty well. I got slightly out of alignment there. One trick is that you can actually hold down Shift to make sure that, so you'd say Alt, and then up here if you wanted to be absolutely sure you're going to be straight, then you could hold down Shift and go up, and that would give you a better chance of being straight. We're getting some muddiness in there now because it's our second time through, and you can certainly fix that. But so we're going to explore the other brush, the other tool now. This is called the rubber stamp tool, or clone stamp tool. I always call it rubber stamp, but I think its official name is clone stamp tool. So this is a similar sort of a thing. I'm going to increase my brush size to be about the same size as before. Maybe we could do this in 2 passes, but basically what you do is you do 2 passes, or you do 2 clicks, and it's pretty similar. The difference here is that this is a pure copy and paste, whereas the healing brush tool does some guessing as to how it should look up here. So this is kind of smooth and blurred. This clone stamp tool is a true copy or clone of the target. And so it literally copies from here all the way up to here. It just may be starting here and going here, so you have this sort of identical path, but it's just offset. So the best way to learn this tool is to have someone like me explain it to you, but then you go and actually try it, because it's sort of harder to put into words than it is to learn how to use. And so if we zoom in here, you can see that this is sort of unique, and they use an algorithm to guess how it should look based off of surrounding area, and it kind of blurs it in, whereas this is a pure copy from here. It's actually copying it straight up to here. So, and if you set your target here, and then your first click is here, then you have this sort of identical path up. And once you run out of space and you start hitting your origin point, then you actually have to start over and go back to the original point. So then you would maybe come from over here, And my personal preference is actually to use, for the most part, is to use the, we might clean this up a little bit, is to use the clone stamp rather than the healing brush tool, because I find that it's more predictable. And you could certainly fix this by saying selection box, and then setting a clone stamp to there, going up there. Maybe you'd have to do it again. And you can kind of see that preview there. Control D. So there we're starting to look better. So you might want to be more careful than that, but you get the idea. So that's the healing brush tool and the clone stamp tool, and they have a similar brush size and hardness settings as a normal paintbrush, and so be aware of that. And also take a gander up here. You have opacity, the blending mode, things like that to work with, but for the most part leave this at normal. Change the opacity as need be, but I rarely use an opacity of less than 100 because you typically are wanting to copy territory. And also, if you're wondering why this is blurred, it's because I've applied depth of field to this image, because I wanted this and the original entourage that was in here, I wanted those to be in focus. I wanted the background to be out of focus, the foreground to be out of focus. So that's why we're seeing this as slightly blurred. So it's not the tools we're using, it's the original image.